we have a walkthrough to the door, right? And originally, so you can see like this is the window, this is the kitchen here, right? I like the levels here, I like the contrast here, but this whole like walkway area was really dark, right? And you're like, what the hell? What am I looking at right now, right? And so we did like 2 takes, and then I said, you know what, something just isn't looking right. I asked my producer Matt, how much time do we have? He's like, I think he said that we're a little behind, but I said, you know what, give me like 5 minutes, right? I need 5 minutes to spice up this walkthrough, right? So if I go back, what I did was only other fixtures I had at the time to make this happen. I had 2 120Ds, right? So the 120Ds are here. We have one with the Fresnel and the one with the barn doors. And then so what I did with that was I had one of my grips point the 120D right here, just to kind of create some interest on this wall here. And then the other 120D, we lowered it and we shot it here on the opposite side of the wall. So that way, at least like, and these are 100%, right? But it's like, they're 120Ds, right? What are you gonna get from it, right? At least this is giving some more interest, so that it's not just pure darkness, right? Pure blackness. At least there's something that we can use to elevate the toe of the image, so to speak, right? So again, little tricks here, right? It's just how can you just create some interest of highlight, right? And again, like it's not a lot. If I had a 300D, this probably would have worked out better, less sourcey. But again, it is what it is, right? So we play it out. He's walking, he comes in, right? Because again, once I get here, I have to expose for this, and then once he opens the screen door, then I have to expose for this. All right. All right. So now we'll play this out a little bit, going for the close up. All right. Rewind a little bit. Okay. Now, where are we when it comes to our sun? Our sun is almost like quarter backlighting this entire area here, right? Which is good because I have trees that are cutting down the sun. There's some houses and buildings, apartments that are cutting down the sun too, which means that, okay, so what do I need to expose for? I need to expose for all this blue sky here, right? Which I know also in the grade, I can bring those highlights down by at least a full stop on the FX9. So I was like, okay, cool. Not too worried. As long as I'm on my small HD, I hit false color. I make sure that I'm within like at least 80, 85 IREs. I know I can bring it back down in post. We're good, right? How do we set up the lighting for this? All right, so I'll show you. I think I have something similar to what we can do here. Is where is it? Not that shot. Yeah, here we go. So you can see here we have, actually I'll show you a better one. This shot here, right? So this is a Taj's coverage, but the same lighting setup, right? We have a 8x8 of highlights that's diffusing the sun, and then we're cutting the bottom of it with an 8x8 of neg, right? Because it was getting just too much on the ground, and I didn't really want that. We have a Forza 500, the Fresnel, shooting into a 4x4 of ultra bounce, right? And that's pretty much the 4x4 ultra bounce. On this particular shot for Jamal's coverage, I had it on the kind of like little ledge stairway here, right? So you can imagine a 4x4 ultra bounce here. And then that's giving us our key source here, right? His shadow side is already being created from the darkness inside of the house, right? Because there's not really a lot of light coming back at him. So we're already on the shadow side of the line, right? We have that 4x4 ultra bounce on the side that's kind of hitting him here, right? You can see this kind of lit up a little bit. That 8x8 of highlight is helping to soften all of this off, right? Because you can imagine if you had like quarter grid, because I've done this in the past, if you had quarter grid, this would have been much darker and looks very unrealistic, right? Whereas highlight, it just knocks off the harshness, but not the intensity of whatever is going through the highlight, okay? And then we have a little bit of highlight here, and then I think that's pretty much it, right? So play it out, and we go to Taj's coverage, right? So now you can have, again, this is that same setup where we had here, right? 4x4 ultra bounce is basically downstage because I'm right here. So the ultra bounce is helping to key him here, right? Now, again, there isn't a lot of room here, right? So if you wanted to do like 4:500 through in a 6:6 of half grid, right? And then soften it up again with like a 4:4 frame of like quarter grid, you could have done that. I felt like that just would have been too much. And I don't think I had I don't think I had enough stands and grip to do that. So I said, okay, you know what, let's go downstage. Let's just bounce light back at him. So that way it's not like too sourcey compared to, say, if we were doing like, you know, say if you went with like an aperture 120D or like even like a 300D, right, with the light dome or whatever it is, right, shooting at him. Like, yeah, you could have done that way, but I don't know. I don't use the light domes much anymore these days. Even if you have like the grid and everything in front of it, it's just it's not like the thing with light domes and the grids is you're stuck using that setup. So if you need to go, if you need the light less diffused, if you need a different quality of light, you can't do that with the light domes because it only fits that specific diffusion, right? Whereas if you use a 4:4 frame, then you can go quarter grid. You can, and because you know quarter grid with a 300D is going to give you, say, 2 stops, right? If you go with a magic cloth, it's going to give you 4 stops, right? And so that's how I like to think about things is I know exactly what this specific cloth or rag is going to do, and I would rather, you know, be specific so that way I can be faster on the day. All right. So hopefully that made sense to you guys. And then yeah, we have the highlight, 8x8 highlight, neg, just like I showed you, and that's camera left. In the back there's a window here, so we just open up the blinds and let the window come in. So that way, again, this isn't like just pure darkness, right? And then we just shut off the 120Ds in the background. Then I mean that's pretty much this entire setup, right? This little door talk, right? So just play this out. We go for the wide. Now the wide is okay. So I needed this 50-50 shot. That means I need to take down the highlight, take down the 8x8. The only thing we left was the ultra bounce, and we let it here. But now you can see how like it's a little bit less manicured. Is because I think when I had the 4:500 at 100%, it was kind of blasting to his side here, and I didn't like that. So we just said, you know what, screw it. I don't want to, you know, repurpose the 8x because I had to go for the next scene. Let's just shoot this, right? Let's just lower down the Forza, shoot the 8x, just kind of get at least some level back onto both of these guys, right? Okay, so we move on, and then close the door. Montagey stuff again. We've done this before, right? Find the backlight, find a little bit of highlight, use little tricks, right? So like even let's see here, this first one, right, is just getting a variety of shots, right? This is me kind of like whipping the camera, or actually no, I don't think I whipped. I don't think I panned the camera. Very slightly, right? Yeah, just track it. Okay, this part again, right? Move past him as he's moving past me. The ball, this thing, you know, Jeremiah was not moving. This is me just shaking the camera because I know it's going to be a fast cut, right? Shaking the camera, making it look like he's moving. This shot, we are moving together. So I just went in the back of our producer's car and just, you know, opened up the back door, the trunk door, and just drove next to him, you know? So it looks fine. It looks fine. All right. So now this next setup is our bike repair setup. The sun, again, we're still working with like that 3/4 backlight, right? Because you can see how like the sun is just hitting him right here, right? And so take note of how harsh this is. This is no diffusion. This is no diffusion, right? As far as the lighting goes, our lighting setup for this was 8x8 poly bounce, 4:500, and honestly, you're also getting a little bit of the sun bouncing too, right? So this is our main key that we will move here and there, right? We'll move to the right, we'll move to the left, and then we have 8x8 of neg kind of running like this way, if you can imagine, maybe like this way, right? Just right out of edge frame left, okay? Our poly bounce is bringing our key levels here. This is our wide, right? This is our wide. So again, just take note of how harsh this is, okay? We'll play it out. We'll play it out. Going for a close-up here. Again, super like shallow depth of field. Like You know, if I stopped down to a T4, I probably could have got both eyes in. I am missing eye light here, so that was a mishap on my part. But you know, so I could have brought in like a 4x4 ultra bounce just to get a little bit of eye light here. Behind him, we have a 4x4 floppy that I had one of the grips just holding and just say, hey, you know, just right here, just stay right behind me, go to the left a little bit, and you know, so that way we can have some crunch, some contrast in camera, and then still allows a little bit of leak light on this area here, right? But again, yeah, we're like at a T, pretty sure we're like at a T2 or something like that, you know, on the Sigma full frame prime. Okay, we played out, or we played out. Go back to the wide again, right? Notice this, right? Notice this. He drops and we cut in, right? Like, what the hell happened here, right? So this is what highlight does, right? Highlight, it knocks down the harshness of the light, but not the actual like output of the light, right? And so this is just highlight that is diffusing the sun, right? We have, if I go back, our 8x8 of neg is still camera left, right? We just move it a little bit because now we're shooting more into this direction. Composition wise, again, right? We have a few, again, we are kind of in that like altered carbon world of blobbiness though, but again, we have at least some interest lines, right? We have the bokeh, we have patterns of light that we're able to create, right? And you have these pillars, right? Anything you can use to create layers of three-dimensionality, right? Is really the name of the game. Okay. And then lighting goes, again, this lighting is still just our 8x8 of poly bounce that's hitting him as far as creating our main key source. Okay. Play it out. We go back. We jump the line. Come here, right? So now we have our eye light. We have our poly bounce doing its thing. We have our highlight that is, I think around this time, it's probably around here or so. The sun's moving still too, right? But again, right, so how can we create like interesting things, right? Why don't we shoot through the bike, the spokes of the bike, and just create even more layers, right? Because now, if you look at it, we have like our first layer here, right? Then second layer is him. We have our mid-ground layers here. And then we have our background layers like all over here, right? So you can just create you know, basic composition, right? I don't know if it's basic composition, but it just make it look not so flat is the thing, right? Lighting wise, yeah, I could have brought the poly bounce around a little bit more towards camera right and up I probably would have needed to bring the poly bounce really close to be able to get more level here, bringing the 8x8 of neg closer here just to create more what's the word? I guess more like nuanced variation. But just looking at this, I like the way it looks, right? It looks like it's not lit. It looks very natural, even though we have an 8x8 of neg, we have an 8x8 poly bounce, we have an 8x8 highlight, right? We are still using fixtures. We're still using movie lights to some extent, but I don't know. It looks really nice to me. It looks really natural to me, right? So played out. This insert shot was just like, okay, just grab it. Like it's such a quick shot. Just grab it, right? I even made like a little sign here called Insta-Chow Groceries, sort of like Postmates, Instacart kind of thing, right? So again, the lighting here, yeah, it looks pretty flat, you know, but at least we're not shooting like straight dead onto the bike, or at least angling the bike in an interesting way. Okay, close up, going back here, right? Again, same setup here. Then he gets up, boom, right? So now you can really see the backlight coming in down here, following him here. And yeah, we're off. Okay, now this shot, kind of difficult, right? Because this shot does not match any of the other shots. The reason why is because in the beginning, this shot, I wanted to do the whole park scene, including this part, I wanted to do sunrise. Unfortunately, the park that we went to was like, there was just like heavy fog, right? And the sun didn't come out until like 11, right? And like, well, shit, we still have all these other scenes to shoot. Like, I can't just wait, right? So we went to one location, which I can show you right now. So our first location was here, right? This is sort of like this is around like 6:30, 7 o'clock or something like that, right? But as you can see, like there really isn't a lot of sun. It's just like overcast, right? And then by like, so we got there at 6 a.m. We set up everything. 6:30 we shot a couple things. 6:30 people were actually showing up to the park to start playing basketball. I was like, dude, it's 6:30 in the fucking morning, and people are coming in to like play basketball. By 7 a.m. there was like 50 people because I think there were 3 courts, right? So there was 1 full court, 2 full court, and like another one, right? Or it might have only been 2, but there were like 40, 50 people there by 7 a.m. ready to play basketball on a Saturday morning, right? I'm like, geez, all right. So that screwed up our plans. And then so the park that we eventually found, we were actually going to lunch, and my producer, he saw across the street, hey, there's a park across the street, right? Martin Luther King Park. And we said, oh, screw it, like, let's just go shoot this now before we go eat lunch, right? This shot, I decided to just, let's just save it for later. Like, screw it. It's not a huge deal. So let's just shoot this later, right? So we ate lunch. We shot the montage bicycle stuff, right? And then we said, okay, cool. Let's go back to Martin Luther King Park and let's try to get this part. This was the only area we can shoot because the one side had people like, they were barbecuing, having a party. And I was like, okay, we can't shoot that part, right? The other part is more of like a shady part where there was stuff going down. I won't say what, but there was stuff going down that probably wouldn't have been best to shoot in that direction. So this is the only place we could shoot, right? It's front lit. But even if something is front lit, can you be in a situation where not the entire like thing is just front lit, right? Can we at least have, can we at least create some contrast, some layers from, light to dark, right? From light to dark, light, dark, right? Light, dark. Can we at least create something like that in this space? And so we did, right? We'll let this play out. He comes in, and again, you can tell this, like, okay, like out of nowhere, he's supposed to go from here, right? And we had to do this a couple of takes because Jeremiah, there were certain parts where he was landing in the shade, certain parts where he was landing too close to the camera. So again, a couple of takes just kind of get the right mark for him, right? In front light, what are you gonna do, right? But it's supposed to go from this to here, where it's like pure overcast, all right? So again, we are in the realm of movie making, so it's okay, not a big deal. And I guess I'll just let this play out because overcast, right? I didn't have the grip or I didn't have the grip at the time. I didn't have people. It was just me, AC, and the producer and the talent, right? So didn't have the grip to make anything look like super awesome, right? We couldn't be walking around the 8x8 of polybounds and the 8x8 of neg, right? It's like, okay, let's just work with what we got. We have overcast day. The advantage of overcast day is really soft lighting, right? And if you needed to create a little bit of contrast, you can run around with like a 6x6 of neg or 8x8 of neg to create that. You're not competing necessarily with the background because the background is going to be pretty down since it's overcast. And because it's overcast, generally you can shoot 360. You can shoot in any direction you want because there isn't like a main backlit source, right? So that's the advantage of shooting overcast. So let's let this play out, right? Super montagey basketball. Now he's like, okay, I'm at the park. No one's here, but you know what? I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to play ball, right? So again, just super montagey stuff. Just make it look good, right? Close-ups, mediums, get some inserts, get some wide shots, right? Go back to the ball. The ball means a lot to him. And again, these ones were like, we're kind of creating, I think actually I can show you. I think I did add, never mind, I was wrong. I thought I added motion blur to some of these. I didn't, but some of these clips I did speed up though. All right, so here, now this is a second scene that I actually forgot about, right? So we shot this right before we did Taj's single when he's watching TV, right? And eating some Cheez-Its, right? So this is our Forza 500, camera left, through a 4x4 of magic cloth, right? I didn't use bounce because I needed to be able to get some level on him. And even in the grade, which I'm pretty sure I did. Yeah, right? Even in the grade, right? So if I turn this off, you can see how this area here, it's dark, right? So this was on the day this was looking like, right? Okay, not a huge deal. He's not moving yet, which means I can get away with putting a mask on him, right? I turn on the mask, see how I kind of just bring him out a little bit, right? Now I don't put the entire mask on his actual face. I put it right here just so that, again, I have key side, shadow side, right? Key side, shadow side. And then I think, yeah, so that is it for that portion. And then we have 8x8 of neg, camera right, just again, create crunch, right? Because you can tell that 4:100 is basically lighting up this wall. But then as it gets over here, it kind of creates that gradient of light to dark, right? So we have our gradient from like light, and then it starts to slowly fade away here, right? And then we keep playing it, do a little post zoom action. All right, we come in, right? So here we go for close up. Now you can see how sourcey this was, right? Compared to like when he's watching TV by himself, this was at least like another half stop to a full stop down, right? But here I said, you know what? This window is really hot. I need at least something to be within ballpark of here, right? We didn't move the neg. The neg we just left alone. I put a 4x4 floppy to camera right. So let me do that for y'all. So, camera right, we just have a 4x4 floppy. One of the grips is holding up. Again, quick little scene here, right? 4x4 floppy. We have our 4:500 through Magic Cloth, getting us our little highlights here, right? That's giving us our pretty sourcey key side here, right? You can even see, but you can see how like soft Magic Cloth is, right? That's why I really like it. The thing with Magic Cloth though is it'll knock down at least like 3 to 4 stops. So you need something pretty powerful if you're gonna punch, if you're gonna use Magic Cloth, right? Is my recommendation. And just kind of cutbacks to like previous scenes. All right, now this shot I can show you is where is it? Here we go. All right, so sunset. I was like, you know what? I just need one shot that's like super stylized, right? So we saved the best for last, so to speak. So sunset. The sun is pretty much like this side, or you can think of it, the sun's rotating around, right? And about 4:30-ish, it's about here, right? So what do? Right? We want to create key side, shadow side, right? So if I go back to the close, this is the close up, and we'll go back to the wide actually. Okay. So here we have our 8x8 of poly bounce, which you can see here. Okay, 8x8 of poly bounce, camera right? So we're saying, okay, camera right is our key side, camera left is going to be our shadow side, right? The poly bounce I could have brought a little bit closer in just to bring more level onto him, but it is what it is. 8x8 of neg is sort of soaking up a little bit of light, but not a lot. Here is just time of day, right? You have that golden hour, golden light coming through, right? We have a nice little edge light, edging him out here. We have at least level here, right, from our poly bounce that is within ballpark of our background that we are balancing to, right? Again, if I wanted to make him brighter than the background, I can bring in the poly bounce. I could have actually bringing the poly bounce closer in just to get more level here, or you can always add a mask if you want to and increase the exposure a little bit, right? But it's interesting frame, right? We have this car here, we have a house here, we have power lines that are pretty. You can see the power lines, but they're not like super in focus, right? The field, just a really interesting shot, and I actually like it a lot. So go in for close up, little lens flare action here with the Kawas, right? And again, little starburst action here. I do like the way the lens flares in this situation, right? And so we keep going, and then this is really it, right? The rest of this is all just like all natural. Again, we're still working overcast days. The sun isn't coming out for the rest of this scene, right? Sun isn't coming out, so okay, let's use composition, right? Can we shoot into the corner of the park, right? Which is what we're doing right now. We're shooting into the corner of the park, creating and using our leading lines, right? Using geometry to our advantage. Fun fact, I actually failed geometry when I was in high school. Wait, did I fail it? I might have gotten like a D in geometry or something like that. And then I passed again the next year because honestly in school, I really didn't care for school, right? I was studying other things when I was in school, which is kind of very abnormal, right? Anyway, so then we'll just let this play out. Kind of getting a little emotional here. He's like, still no one's here, right? And then he hears his buddy Jamal calling out to him, right? Or Taj calling out to him, right? And this is the crazy thing when I was looking at this, when I was editing it. This is what full frame does, right? This honestly looks like freaking green screen, right? Do you see how like three-dimensional he looks? This is just the lens. Again, this is just the lens doing its thing on a full frame sensor, right? This whoa. You know, like this whole thing looks like green screen. It looks like he's on a green screen, right? It's just weird. It's so weird every time I look at this. And other frames too, right? This kind of looks like within that realm, right? We have like the bowing effect from like the anamorphic, right? But like you come here to the 50-50. Look how like edged out they are, right? Like it's crazy how, I mean, there really is an advantage to full frame, right? There really is an advantage to full frame. But if you just take like a frame grab of this and just stare at it, like how edged out they are is nuts. Right? It looks like they're on a green screen or like a blue screen. It's crazy, right? So again, no bounce, no neg. Again, if you wanted more, right here, I like the level on him, right? On David, Taj, right? I like the level on him. If you want a little bit more crunch, if you had a grip with like a 6x6 of neg to camera right, you can create a little bit more crunch in camera. That's always a nice thing. We play out. And here, the lens is kind of getting a little flared here, so you're getting a little bit of like that hazy action here. But again, right, just choose a line. Right, just choose a line, and I mean that's pretty much it.